Hey, you guys, I'm glad to be back with you. I'm glad that you're back with me. It's been a little while since I've shot some videos on real estate, so I'm really glad to be with you guys here today. So let's get started. I've got some pretty interesting topics, I think, today because the market has been shifting and changing, and I think I'm going to do a separate video on that actually with the new real estate cycle we're stepping into. But here's what I wanted to talk about right now. Location, but not your typical location video, right? I've done a couple of those before where I talk about the power of location. I'm going to take a little bit different look at this here today with you. First, introductions. I'm Mark Hulsey. I'm the managing broker of Results Commercial Group. We're a small commercial investment boutique firm. We work in multiple states, including Minnesota, Illinois, Wisconsin, Florida, with offices across the country. And you can take a look at who we are at resultscommercial.com. But let's get started on this topic. Here's why I think this is so interesting. So we all know that location is always that typical cliche in real estate that goes back 100 years with, well, location. We always talk about putting our money in location. That's where we want to park our capital. It's all about the location. We've had some crazy times over these past couple of years. I don't need to tell you that. You know that. You've lived through them. But from a real estate point of view, here's the part that I think is just kind of dumbfounding to me and to us, the brokers within our group. We guide investment buyers, commercial investment investors all the time, right? And so we have to provide our guidance and our insight. So as we're guiding them about where to put their capital, where to invest, and we go through all of this analysis and we take a look at the location, you know what we've now have found out? That A-plus location went from an A-plus location to a D location or an F location. And it happened in a really short amount of time. And I find it absolutely alarming. I mean, in fact, a few years ago, I never even would have thought that could be the case, that I could be saying to you something like, listen, if it were me, I'd be taking a look at some of these following commercial corridors where I think we can feel very good about finding some good retail investments or some bar restaurant investments, some office, some mixed use investments. And because of course that's what we're looking at. We're typically looking at where the commercial investment properties. And so in our market, I'll talk about our market here, this particular market being Minneapolis, St. Paul. But we're finding this in a handful of cities across the United States right now. What was once a great location is no longer a great location. And so what was once maybe a safe place isn't so safe anymore. And now safe from literally a safety point of view, but also safe from an investment point of view, from a risk point of view, right? And that's what we're sitting here measuring in all of our investments, whether it be real estate or otherwise, is what is the risk? So it's crazy to think that we went from an A location, and I'm going to use a local neighborhood in Minneapolis. It was called Uptown. Obviously, all the local people here know what Uptown is, and it's a cute, trendy neighborhood not far from the downtown of Minneapolis. And it was the place that you would go to, and you would go out and you'd go to the bars and restaurants, and kind of a cool scene over there, and a really wonderful place, whether it be shopping with some great brands or going to some of the bars and clubs and things like that. And now we've watched the demise of a neighborhood. So the reason I want to talk with you about this, you guys, because it's something that I've never really seen before. We watch neighborhoods come and go. We watch them go into declines. We watch them stay stable. We watch the gentrification or the redevelopment of particular neighborhoods. But I've never necessarily seen a neighborhood go into, I don't know, and I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but almost like a crash. Okay, and that's when we have our roundtable discussions within our group about these kinds of things, saying, can you even believe it? Now imagine the financial analysis. Okay, so imagine as we work on our spreadsheets and we're working on cap rates and we're working on worst case scenarios, if it were 3 years or 4 years ago or 5 years ago, and trying to project out a discounted cash flow against a particular asset, not having any idea that, but what if the neighborhood crashes? This makes the best point for any investor to always run a worst case scenario for all investments. This is it. I mean, this is the very reason that we should be doing that, to say, what if? It's not fun. It's not like it's the greatest exercise that we want to do, but I can tell you with what's happened in some of our areas and some of our metros around the United States and the changing of some of our urban environments, it makes a lot of sense for all of us to always go through this. So listen, it's kind of just one of those red flag things that I throw out. And I'm not trying to, again, put fear out there into the world any more than there's already too much of it. But what I'm trying to point out is that it's not always just rosy, and these risk factors that we're dealing with when it comes to real estate or any other investment for that matter. We can't just do all this pie in the sky and think that everything's always going to bang zoom up, and we've got to be realistic about this stuff. So there's my thing on location and the changing of a location and running our worst case scenarios. So it's an interesting topic. It's going to be something that, of course, we're all going to keep watching. And I hope you'll think a little bit more about it too. If I can do anything for you, reach out to me. I'm Mark@resultscommercial.com. I appreciate you following our channel, and I look forward to hearing and talking to you soon. Thank you.